We're coming down the home stretch of the season here. We have players chasing 50 home runs. Might we have 5 of them this year? Trout gets his 400th career home run, and Kershaw has his last start in Dodger Stadium. It's This Week in Baseball. It's going to be a bit of a quicker episode this week because we do suggest that everybody goes and checks out our interview with author Jane Leavy on all our different platforms here. We have the video interview, we have the podcast, so please do go check that out. We're talking about her new book about why she should be commissioner in baseball, and it is a very lengthy and interesting discussion, I would say.
Yeah, Jane was great. And,
it was awesome.
She's got some really interesting ideas, and a few of them I'm still thinking about after we talked about it last week, such as having the pitchers maybe throw a heavier and bigger ball, which is we talk about in the podcast. And also she brought up, what if the mound wasn't there and they threw a flat ground? That would make it less taxing on pitchers' arms. And that, could you imagine, like going back to 1870?
It would be so strange. It wouldn't look like the same
thing off flat ground.
People say we're playing cricket.
But anyway, check it out. Jane's making the rounds, but she's just got a lot of opinions and a lot of points of view.
A lot of really interesting insight.
Yeah, and she got great access. I mean, to get in and talk to Bregman the way she did over years. She talked to Dusty Baker. She talked just to a lot of people. And I thought the Morgan Sword, and hopefully we'll get Morgan Sword, and maybe I can reach out to him and get him to come on the podcast. He works for Major League Baseball, and she said that he feels the same things that she's talking about, but he works for Major League Baseball. So how much can he change? So Jane's book is Make Me Commissioner. I Know What's Wrong with Baseball and How to Fix It. Mm-hmm. So we'll take a look at that. That's or listen to that at episode 628. So we're here on Sunday. The Mets have just lost again to the Washington Nationals, 2 out of 3 at the worst possible time.
If the Cincinnati Reds hold here against the Chicago Cubs, they will take over possession of the final
on a tiebreaker.
On a tiebreaker, so it'll be a true dead race to the last year. The Mets will somewhat get an advantage in it. It will be their turn to play the Cubs, who are struggling mightily right now, though, knowing how things go in Mets
world. Cubs lay down for the Reds.
Right.
Did I say that out loud?
The Cubs will lay down for the Reds and then play amazing against the Mets, and it'll feel like they're trying to help out their NL Central brethren. But I think we both sort of feel that even if the Mets do make the playoffs, they're not going to be very good.
No. Defensively this weekend, watching the Mets play, they looked buffoonish in the way they kicked them through. The Nationals did too, by the way.
Crosstown rivals,
but it cost them the series. I think good defense, and they probably win all 3 games instead of only winning 1. And then the last race is there because the Giants have slipped back a little bit. The D-backs have slipped back, so it looks like the Mets and the Reds are going to vie for that last wild card spot.
It's going to come down to the last 2 series of the season here, which is going to make for some great baseball over the next week. When we get to next Sunday here, I think by around the time we'll be recording, everything will be.
Well, wait till after the games are over next Sunday. But you're exactly right that I think they all play at the same time. Maybe all the games start at 3:00, or there was some common time that they all start. It might be 3:00.
They make
Eastern.
sure that not all the games have to start at the same time, but all the games that have stakes, because they have some games.
Right, you're right.
Where they'll let them go earlier or later because they're not impacting the race in any kind of way. That neither team is involved, so they're allowed to play their game.
And that won't be the Sunday night game because there is no Sunday night game.
There is no Sunday night game next week.
So and in the American League, we've not been talking enough about the Guardians because over the past 10, 11 days until today, which it looks like they're going to lose that game if they haven't already, breaking their 10-game winning streak that got them to within a game of the Detroit Tigers, or a game and a half of the Tigers, who are also losing today to the Braves. So those 2 teams, the Tigers and the Guardians, have a big 3-game series this week. Where is that series?
I mean, really, winner take all here, because if you sweep that series, you're almost putting the other team, in the dirt at that point in the AL Central.
I mean, the Tigers are going to go on record if they lose
as
having the greatest choke in the history of Major League.
Collapse of all time.
Right, they were up 15 and a half games, and no team has ever lost that kind of a lead. So we like historic stuff, but that is not the kind of stuff I really want to see.
A little bit kind of rooting for it, just so that we won't have to wear that anymore.
Yeah, I don't wish that kind of stuff on.
I don't wish it on them, but I don't mind if they take that title.
That's bad juju. So I don't think so. And that's the other big series in that is taking place this weekend in the American League, and it is the Astros and the Mariners. And the Mariners are now up 2 games. I
Yes, 2.
thought going into today, and they are playing this afternoon. I don't think they. I don't know what the Sunday night game is tonight. What is the Sunday night game? Sorry, we're doing this in real time here. Yeah.
No, they're not the Sunday. They're playing this evening. Yeah, they're the Sunday night game, so they're not on yet. So we don't know what they're going to be, but Houston could be 3 back with 2 games to play.
With 6 games to play.
With 6 games to play, right? With 2 series to play.
2 series to play. Yeah, so that's pretty special. That the Mariners, who kept thinking they were going to fold, and the Astros with all their experience and so on and so forth, we're going to hold on, but they've looked shaky. They didn't get a great start from Framber Valdez like they needed, and the Mariners could put the Astros behind the 8 ball. If the Astros win tonight, though, however, they're 1 game back with 6 to play.
It's a series at that point. It's you're running it down then those last 2 series, and you don't know who's going to win. It's going to be who takes it really.
But now point. I can safely say the Rangers are truly dead.
Yes, they're truly dead. They're not getting any.
I tried that last week with the Mets. Saying the Mets were dead, and then they won 4 out of 5 and didn't hold on, and nor did it for the Rangers. As a matter of fact,
right now everything pretty much looks settled.
It does.
In the AL East, it's hard for me. I think in terms of are you think the Yankees are going to run down the Blue Jays here in the last week?
They're losing today, or they're tied today on Sunday. So the game, obviously, when we drop this tomorrow morning, this will be a done deal. But yeah, the Yankees they were tied 1-1. I think they are up 6-1. So the Blue Jays, what are the Blue Jays doing?
I'm trying to find
the Blue Jays are up 8-5 in the middle of the 8th. So if they hold serve, the Yankees will be 2 games behind with 6 to play. So that's not over. It's a tough deficit to come back from, but certainly.
But they're both making the playoffs at this point.
That's true, and the Red Sox have floundered a little bit, and such that the Astros. And the Mariners who have the Mariners have 69 losses, so they're in good shape. The Astros only have 1 more loss than the Red Sox, and the Guardians have the same amount of losses at 71. So there's a lot of things that could happen. You could end up next week with the Red Sox out, the Guardians and the Tigers in, and the Mariners or the Astros as the division champion.
Right. You could have a lot of different AL playoff configurations based on kind of who plays well in this last week.
And we'll talk about we're not going to preview the playoffs today, but the playoffs in the first round of the wild card series is all 3 games, if there are 3 games, at the higher seeded team.
Right.
So that's a huge difference, right? So if you think, my team got in the playoffs and it's great, I'm going to get a home. No, you're not getting a home game if you're the lower seed.
Right.
And you got to go and win 2 out of 3 at the opponent's ballpark, which is another reason why, if the Mets were so lucky to get into the playoffs, I don't see them going and playing the Dodgers and winning games.
2 out of 3 in LA. Yeah, that'd be impressive.
In Dodgers. But it's going to be an amazing week, and we could be here next Sunday, and I don't know what's going to happen.
No, and that's the beauty of the pennant race in baseball and the playoff race, and that's why if you ask yourself, well, why did the Major League expand the playoff picture? This is why, because now you've got an incredibly exciting race in both leagues. We're all going to be paying really super close attention to who makes the playoffs, and it's going to be a great time as a baseball fan.
If you had to say, okay, you had to pick one team who's the best team in the American League right now and the best team in the National League right now that you think has the best chance to make the World Series from their league.
Phillies. I haven't.
Blue Jays. For me,
Mariners right now.
Right. So there's no dominant team this year.
In the AL,
in either league.
In either league, no, you really don't have a team you could point to because you're going to have. This is a year where you don't have anybody that's going to have bat 300.
Oh no, Trea Turner is going to finish the season.
He's good
because he hasn't come back yet. He's batting 305, and he probably would do better to not bat anymore. But I think he is going to try to come back.
Well, it's going to be wild that you're going to have a season with no 300 batters, no 100 game winners as a team. Nobody's going to win 100 games.
No team's
going
to win 100
games. And nobody threw any
no
hitters.
We have had no hitters. We're in the last week here, so that's a real rarity when you don't have a no hitter in the season, particularly these days with the way that hitting is.
And I think we saw what has been a trend really taking place this late in this season with the Jays having Trea Savage, a 22-year-old, make his first start. Struck out 9 in 5 innings and was throwing gas. But a whole bunch of teams have been bringing up young arms late in the season here and being like, okay, rookies, make big starts for us down the stretch.
And I think the Dodgers did some of that last year when they brought up Ben Kasperius, and they had these young pitchers who the other teams really hadn't seen enough to be able to have a book on the pitcher yet, and so that it can kind of surprise people when you got a pitcher who's
Like,
throwing
okay,
hard and maybe
he's got some good stuff. You're
having
like, okay, what is this?
preternatural,
Yeah.
stuff going on, and so the Mets have done it with 3 rookie pitchers in the rotation over the past month, and I think all of us would have not believed you if you said we're going to wait all the way to the middle
And
of
then
September,
we'll bring
and
him
we're
in.
going to unleash these guys. But as you said, Trea Turner is one guy. There are other guys around the major leagues who are pitching in big spots at this point in the season.
The Brewers brought up
It's a little nuts
earlier this year, but like a lot of teams have been doing this, just in part that one, teams just need so many arms to get through the season, and 2, why not see if you really think these young guys are going to be good for you, you're going to need to use them in a game at some point. You might as well get them in the game at the end of the year here. Nobody's got any time to have any book on them. Let's see what they can do. Let's see if they can contribute. I don't think these rookies I don't think Tong or Sprout would be starting for the Mets in the postseason.
Well, I think that's possible if they make it. And then they play 3 games, by the way.
Right.
So
I think McLean might get a start, though.
I think so too, and I think the young pitchers are at their inning limits in some situations, just like the major league team.
A lot of pitchers are at their inning limits.
You're really taking a chance and having a young guy who's never thrown this many innings come up to the major leagues, try to get major league hitters out, and you're maybe a little worried about injury.
I think everybody's a little worried, and I think it's just throwing innings is just such a big deal in the major leagues, and it really impresses me how the Dodgers were able to do it last year. And you can kind of see how it didn't work this year, and that all of those starting pitchers last year were able to get them to the playoffs where they could use their bullpen ruthlessly in every single game. They couldn't do that this year. Even if they get to the playoffs, right, they're not going to be able to use their bullpen the way they did last year, because I don't think the bullpen just has the innings in them to do that.
But I think they got back all these starters now. They've got all these people that are just getting healthy about right time. Shohei Ohtani could be a reliever in the playoffs.
But they have to get them all good. They all have to be...
all of a sudden, Snell looks good. Glasnow looks good.
Yamamoto
looks good.
Recently.
I mean, Sasaki's trying to get back to the major leagues, but there's a lot of guys. Kershaw has pitched very well, even though he had his last start in Dodger Stadium.
I do think it's interesting with Sasaki, because that's like the first move it feels like they made that just wholly not really worked.
Yeah, that's 1 year. You throw a lot of money at stuff. Not everything's going to work.
Right. But that's the first crack in the wall. That's how it can start if you're the Dodgers. You've got all this money tied up in all these guys, and let's say, okay, wait a second, Glasnow gets hurt again. Snell does his normal stuff.
That happened.
Right, that happens. And so all of a sudden, it's like that's how like a team that has all of this money can suddenly have their hands tied, because it only takes a couple guys fully not working out, and then normal injuries and stuff can really start putting you behind an 8-ball.
And I'll say this then. The team to watch for in the playoffs are the Dodgers. They're still the team. We said the Phillies.
Oh, yeah,
that's the scariest team. That's the team that could go on a bender and just beat the tar out of everybody.
We talked about it last week. Mookie Betts has remembered how to hit, and with him and Shohei and Freddie in that lineup, you have to respect that lineup.
I think it's hard when you're a good team, to be on all the time. And the Dodgers have definitely not been on this season. They've had a lot of up and downs, but I think when it comes to the playoffs, they're experienced. Obviously, the defending champions. Mm-hmm. I would not sell them short in the playoffs.
Part of me wishes we could just have like a loaner program in the major league, so that like guys that play for certain franchises could get a taste of the playoffs. Because like Mike Trout hit his 400th home run for Anaheim or Los Angeles or whoever the Angels are.
I think they're Los Angeles.
We should probably let them take. Like, he should be able to give it on loan to the Dodgers for the playoffs, just so it could be like a Make-A-Wish thing.
Wow.
Like here,
all
Mike
these
Trout,
people show up for the
this
games.
Is what the playoffs is like.
Yeah, I feel bad for him, and he's the guy that caught his 400th home run. Actually, came out into the field after the game.
Had a catch with Trout.
That
was what he wanted.
The guy's got a glove on, and Trout doesn't wear it. He just catches it barehanded.
Yeah, there's no way this guy's gonna throw it with any kind of pace, and he's gonna.
Trout just looks like a physical specimen there. We sometimes have forgotten how great the guy was. I know you like to talk about that aspect of him. Do you understand how incredible this guy was for a long time? It's not like he's not one of the greatest all-time players. Still,
right. It's just that because he fell off the path, he fell off the track of being the greatest player to ever played the game. And so when he was on that trajectory, and you're talking about him, now you just have to talk about him as one of the greatest players to ever play the game. Because you forget, he really was on that trajectory to be the greatest player to have ever played the game. He was putting up those kinds of numbers every single year. I don't think we had seen somebody put up numbers like that since Pujols.
Right. and be like how can he keep doing this kind
Right.
of thing? That's what it was. So home run wise in the major leagues, I here's how AI can mess you up. So I think I put a query in and it came up, okay, because I saw that Schwarber hit his 50th home run. So there are three guys
He's
right
at 53 now.
Oh, he's at 53. Three guys with 50 home runs or more. Raleigh with 57 as of today. Ohtani and Schwarber with 53. And so it's the first time there's been three guys with 50 home runs. And I'm like, really? I
It
guess
doesn't
so.
seem right.
Doesn't seem right. It's like, well, actually, it's true in that two other times there were four guys that had 50 home runs,
Right.
but they didn't have threes. You have to be careful how you ask the question because it doesn't include those guys. So what we need to have happen, as you said when we opened, is to have Judge, who's got 49, get to 50, and Suarez, who's got 47, get to 50, and then you'll have five guys with 50 home runs. That will be the first time that's ever happened.
And it's just wild thinking that, before Babe Ruth hit 54 in 1920, nobody had ever, that was like the first time anybody hit 50. Nobody but Ruth hit more than 50 until 1930 when Hack Wilson hit 56. And so now we have years where guys hit, four guys hit 50 home runs in a season. And, though there is a bit of a cliff after that grouping of guys, because I think the next closest is then Soto at like 42. No, and then Caminero is at 44.
Caminero's got 44 home runs. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And you're right. Soto's got 42. So yeah, I think, if we sat down, so we should do this sometime, try to do it. So name all the guys that have hit 50 home runs in the history of baseball.
Oh, in a season?
That's a season. Well, there's not that. I think there's like 33 or something like that.
Right. We would probably be able to get most of them.
Would you get Greg Vaughn? That's a tough one. Cecil Fielder hit 51.
Prince Fielder also had 50.
Did he hit 50?
I want to say he did.
I know he and his dad have the same amount of career homers with 319 for some reason. I remember that. But anyway, we should do that another time in terms of how many of these guys, because 50 home runs, like you said, was like, 50 home runs. And Ruth hit the 59 and then he hit the 60 home runs in 1920. 27. I don't remember when he hit the 60 home runs. And then nobody did it, like you said, until Hack Wilson.
Right, and so it's just, we do love these gigantic home run totals, and we talk about it because you look at the seasons that Raleigh's had an amazing season, Schwarber's had an amazing season, Ohtani's had an amazing season, and for a guy that a lot of people were kind of talking about him like he was having a down season. I don't think anybody's talking about Juan Soto like he's having a down season anymore. I mean, he is now entering elite category with the season he's put up.
I think to traditional baseball guys like old guys like me, you see a guy who's got a 267 average, and you just can't get excited about a batting average when it's 267, even if you understand that the on base is so good, and it just seems like that seems kind of low.
Right, it's just funny. Like it would be like it's like you put your hand over the average and you look at every other stat and you're like, oh, okay.
And I wouldn't rather have him hit 294 with a 340 on base average.
Right, because he's only one of three guys that have 40 homers, 30 stolen bases, 100 or more RBIs, 100 or more walks, joining Barry Bonds. And for the life of me, I would have not guessed this. Jeff Bagwell,
yeah.
Stole 30 bases in a season.
With that stance at the plate, how could the guy run? No, he ran pretty well.
And from what I was saying, his Astro fan said he's actually very smart base runner.
That was the same thing. The same thing. He was a smart base runner.
Right. He understood.
Like Keith Hernandez wasn't fast, was a smart base runner.
Right. And you could probably say the same thing about Soto. I mean, even though he got picked off today.
Well, he's doing it so often. Soto, he's got the stolen base. He's not fast, as we all know.
Right. He's clearly.
And he kind of tiptoes off first base. He goes a little further. He goes a little further and takes a look, sees the guy looking over, and then basically as the pitcher just begins to go, he just runs, and most of the time he gets down there before the throw even gets there.
Right. And he's 4 stolen bases shy of a 40-40 season, which really feels like he's going for it almost just as a prove a point.
I know the action in Vegas before the season on Soto putting up a 40-40. You got big numbers.
Big numbers.
Off the board kind of stuff.
Nobody was betting on that.
There's no way that happens. So, yeah, and the doubles leaders, and so that's not going to, not something that pay a lot of, but Bo Bichette's got 44 and Bobby Witt at 43, so they're vying for the doubles crown.
We're gonna have the American League has a bunch of guys hitting above 300 because it's just wild to look at. You're gonna look at Aaron Judge's complete season. in totality, and it's going to be incredibly impressive. But then you could just isolate his first half, and you're going to realize how close he was to having like a greatest season of all time.
Still good enough for the MVP as far as
He's
going to
be the MVP.
As good as Cal Raleigh is, and he has been. I can't.
But if Cal Raleigh hits a big home run tonight, and that's part of the reason why they end up winning the division, I feel like the narrative...
And the Yankees fall out of it? I mean, how bad do the Yankees have to go?
Yankees get the wild card.
Okay.
Yankees get the wild card. Mariners win the division. I feel like baseball is going to want to give it to Raleigh because they like the story more.
And he's a catcher, and he has to do all that.
And he's been great towards the end of the year when Judge has just been normal Judge, or even like slightly less than that.
Judge's season stats are still ridiculous.
Incredible, but it's just because his first half was so otherworldly. Like, you have to remember, this guy was hitting like 400 something into like June, basically.
Yeah, well, he's still got
He's still hitting 330.
175 ops points over Cal Raleigh. Okay, so that's a lot, And
they got the thing is that the thing that powers both of them. And if you just say this, imagine either one of those lineups without that guy.
Well, it doesn't matter. They both have the same effect,
right?
And there's the old guy average thing, right? Judge is hitting 327, Cal Raleigh is hitting 246. Oh, come on.
Cal Raleigh's a catcher who's hit 57 home runs.
Yeah, he is. And Judge has only got 49. I get that,
Only 49.
So he's only got 5 stolen bases, but that's one more than Cal Raleigh.
No, he's got 12.
He's got 12. That's right, it's 12. He's been caught 5 times.
Cal Raleigh's got 14.
Cal Raleigh's got 14 steals. My bad. So he's got more stolen bases than Aaron Judge. I think that's an odd thing. So
and I do want to give a shout out just here before we finish up that Jose Ramirez gets another 30-30 season. I think people aren't going to go realize, because he plays for a team in Cleveland that doesn't get enough attention.
Yep.
And he is quietly putting together a resume that is going to have him going down up there with like the Mike Schmitz of the world, is one of the best third basemen to ever play the game.
And you're right about underappreciated, right? Because does anybody ever talk about Jose Ramirez as MVP of the American League? And you look at his stats year after year after year going, you're going to look at his career stats after he's over going, how does this guy never win?
Look at his career stats right now. You look at his career stats right now. I'm telling you, he's like, his career stats are going to be in the realms of the Beltres and the Mike Schmitz. That's how good he is.
Yeah. So and we talked a little bit about other awards last week on the pitching. Where it's between Crochet and Skubal and Skeens is going to win in the National League.
Next week is obviously going to be a real big breakdown. We're going to be talking about the season. We're going to go through how the regular season shook out, how the playoffs are looking. We'll probably talk a little bit about awards and just sort of starting to preview those. It should be a really fun last week of the season.
Yeah, no doubt.